One of the primary changes we've seen in the market is that price has always been there, quality has always been there, a level of service and proficiency from MSPs has always been there. But the scope of services and the way that contracts are structured have actually evolved, and we've seen it happening extremely more aggressively this year, in the last year. For example, if most of our contracts and the managed services scope was primarily around IT services, operational efficiencies, data centers, infrastructure, today we're talking about business KPIs, enabling the business, creating new growth engines for the company. And for example, I'll give you one example. When companies today want to establish a second brand as an additional source to stay competitive and to grow, managed services is an excellent vehicle that we in Amdocs actually help some of the largest vendors in the United States, like AT&T, T-Mobile US, basically be their primary IT vendor for their second brand. And here the managed services, again, you would say framework, basically enables getting that business much faster to the market. And the contract itself wasn't defined based only on the technical and you would say operational, like KPIs, SLAs, but much more on the business scope. We also see that one of the biggest trends that we've seen this year is basically that the service providers expect the MSPs to bring in much more innovation and business ideas to the company. So if in the past we were told by the vendor, by the service provider exactly what is needed, today they expect us to come with a solution and know in advance what the problem is. They really expect us to bring an end-to-end solution where managed services, again, would be the vehicle to implement it, but would it be machine-to-machine or big data or a CES, a customer experience solution, a transformation, and managed services would be the packaging and the way to make it happen. So those are two of the biggest trends that we've seen. We at Amdocs basically invest both in product development and also service development. So when we talk about our managed services business, which is over half of the company's revenue, today Amdocs Managed Services is one of the largest in the market, over $1.5 billion. We actually invest in researching, developing, and taking to the market new managed services models. And one of the very exciting things that I've been working on with my team in the business development of managed services is actually challenging the traditional ITO and BPO models in something that we call VPO, Value Process Operations, which is basically not trying to rely on more money, more volume to get more money or more transactions, but actually trying to give a service provider a model where he knows exactly what he's going to pay for the next 3 to 5 years under a managed services contract, regardless of the fact that he will grow and will have more transactions, because we, Amdocs, are going to use technology, automation, and a lot of business process optimization to actually enable that. So the business model that traditionally would be around fixed linear models or transactional based, we're taking them to the next level at Amdocs to actually try to build managed services commercial models that are based on the business value, the bottom line business KPIs, and we commit to that in the contract and therefore basically get to the bottom line, the end results. It doesn't matter if we improve just a subset of a system or a process or application. What really matters to the customers today is, did we enable the business to grow? Did we enable the business to cut costs and improve their EBIT? And this is where the VPO or new managed services model come in place. So at Amdocs, we've seen that many of our customers are on one hand trying to invest more and to take their big data analytics, data warehouse capabilities to the next level. On the other hand, there's a diverging force of less money to invest and ARPUs are decreasing, subscriber growth is reaching its plateau, and they're actually in a huge contradiction of how to enable that. So one of the ways that we actually help service providers enable their big data strategy is by providing a prime SI or primary vendor concept, where in the past they would have maybe one vendor to handle their BSS, OSS, IT. On the other hand, they would have their big data analytics, data warehouse vendors as two vendors in parallel. One of the models that we're taking to the market and is working very well is basically being a prime vendor or across BSS, OSS, and big data analytics data warehouse. So we can basically bring an end-to-end solution, which by definition enables us to bring much more efficiencies on one hand, therefore enabling the cost required to invest and to grow, but also ensuring that the project is very focused and doesn't spread across two different organization competencies. And obviously as prime vendor, we build in and we bring in ecosystems of the best vendors and specialists as needed. So the service provider would work with Amdocs as a prime vendor across a project which obviously goes across BSS, OSS, big data, network, social information. And we would build in all of the required vendors, partners, and vendor management needed to operate it efficiently, therefore promising the bottom line results for the vendor. So big data basically is one of the ways that influence how the managed services contract is structured in terms of the model. One of the key drivers that we're seeing is basically managed services has to go to the next level. It must evolve from being a way to cut costs, basically to bring efficiencies, also to adding two more components. In the future, managed services will not only provide efficiency, cost cutting as it was in the past, it will also be the primary driver for growth. So every new business model, whether it's machine-to-machine technologies and lines of business, if it's connected home, if it's all of the future growth engines of the telecom, being a business enabler to enterprise customer, cloud services, managed services is going to be the model that will enable growth, not only as an executor, but also as a partner to the service providers in defining that business from the planning stage to the operation stage, end to end. And the third component, beyond efficiencies and growth, is going to be innovation. Because obviously, in today's world, you cannot enable the growth and the efficiency if you don't bring with you the innovation, the knowledge of the roadmap of the future, of the telecommunication, of the IT world, and the infrastructure. And that's where that triangle, I would say, between efficiency, growth, and innovation is where the managed services market is going. And this is where Amdocs is taking our abilities and our portfolio to the market. So far, it's working very well.